Oh, that was hard work.
It's a long day.
Is
Working
it?
on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, maybe so. All right. Well, I know Moses had a lot of long days. I mean,
Let me do the
long
math on that real
months,
quick.
long weeks,
And I actually want to do the math
long
on that now.
years. What do you want to do the math on? How many long days he had? I mean,
Yeah.
does the Sabbath day count? Because that was supposed to be their day of rest. I wonder if they let him rest on the Sabbath day.
Have you read the Old Testament?
Well, I mean, there's only a few hundred things registered. I mean, it's not enough to take up 40 whole years. You know, it's like 12,000. What? 12,000, 14,000 and something.
14,600.
Yeah.
Depending on whether or not you take off Sabbath days.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you take off the Sabbath days,
So, by the
you
end
lose
of
an
his
extra-
life,
2,000.
by the end of the 40 years wandering through the wilderness,
Yeah.
Moses had 14,600 long days.
Yeah. Not counting the long days he had keeping sheep in the wilderness.
Yeah, before he rescued the children of Israel.
Yeah, well, that's okay. So he's had more long days than we have. I mean, that's like more long days than I've had in my whole life, you know? I mean, that's almost more days than I've had in my life, but
Not quite.
no, not quite. I mean, it's certainly more days than I've had more days than I've had in my adult life. And children don't really have
How
long
old's
days.
Papa?
Old enough.
Well, I mean, like
76 or
Okay.
7.
so he wouldn't
I think he's turning 77.
he
this
wouldn't
year,
quite be able to have had twice as many long days as Moses.
so. No. Well, I mean, you can't.
I mean, like from the 40-year period. we're
Yeah.
talking
Well, he's probably had as many as that 40-year period. I gave him a lot of long days.
about. That's fair.
Not to mention, some other people that lived with us at various times. that
That's
gave him
also
long
fair.
days. And his work days that were long sometimes.
And Abby.
And when he was,
I've got to let the bugs out.
is that what she did?
That's what she was trying to do. Nobody ever understood that, but I asked her one time. I was like, "Why did you do that?"
Why were
And she
you
was like,
doing that?
"I was trying to let the bugs out."
Yeah, and the times that I threw the ball up against the slate shingles on the side of the house and busted on the garage and busted the ball. It seemed like fun at the time. Anyway. Yeah, I can feel for Moses, but I can also understand the children of Israel. They just seemed like fun at the time. All right,
It's all fun and games till the dragons come and start killing people.
Yeah, but that was last time. This time, it's all good. It's all it's better. It's better.
Show me both hands.
Numbers 27 and verses 16 through 23 kind of looks at this whole situation. The prayer is only 56 words long in verses 16 and 17. So Moses comes to the Lord, and basically he's saying, I'm kind of getting old here. I've had enough of this. It's been nearly 40 years as we're getting close to the end of Numbers. Let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation, one who may go out before them and who may go in before them, and who may lead them out and bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord will not be as sheep which have no shepherd. And so Moses knows he's not going to be able to do this job forever. I think about this a lot with elders. Elders are always concerned about the church and wanting to see that the mantle of leadership is passed on to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it's not, that's when churches struggle and a lot of times die, because there's no one to take up that leadership position. And Moses knew. Oh, did he know what a task this was going to be?
Yeah.
And yet he knows that it's a necessary task. They need someone to lead them. They need a shepherd. They're lost sheep needing a shepherd. So he asks God, pick somebody. Do you suppose he had a guess at who God might pick? I mean, there weren't a whole lot of good choices.
That's fair.
I mean, most of the men who had wanted to lead Israel are dead now because they had rebelled against Moses and God,
Yeah.
and at one point or another in the wilderness. I mean, you got. Who have you got? I mean, you only got two guys. The next, Moses is like 120, getting there, close to it by this time. He's looking at the next generation. There's only two guys in that generation. There's only two of them.
Yeah.
The only two choices he has are Joshua and Caleb.
So it's like,
That's
God, you've got two choices. Flip a coin.
pick which one of these two you want. It's kind of like the apostles trying to replace Judas. Here's two men. Pick one of them.
Yep.
That's kind of where Moses is. But
then they cast lots.
and I always wondered why they threw Lot around so much. What did he do to deserve that? Anyway, so
I think it had something to do with his choice in marriage. I mean, she wasn't a great woman.
she was
Very
salty.
salty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very salty. All right. Oh, great minds think alike, and so do demented ones. But that's a whole different story.
The mentors?
No.
Okay.
So the Lord tells Moses. He answers Moses. I mean, this is one of the beautiful things about Moses and Abraham. God sometimes directly answered their prayer. Moses said, "Okay, take Joshua, the son of Nun, a man who has the Spirit, and you lay your hand on him. And then set him before Eleazar the priest in front of the whole congregation and give him a charge in their sight. And you will put some of your honor on him."
So this Joshua guy was a battery, apparently. Because Moses
No.
was supposed to give him a charge.
It's a different
Did
kind
they
of
have
charge.
jumper cables back then?
It was like a charge of
Moses
C4.
hooked one up to each of his ears, and then
I think it was a
hook 'em up
charge
to-
of C4.
we'll go that route.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe a charge of gunpowder.
Okay, here.
Charge
You
means
are
a lot
allowed
of
to
things.
have this explosive when they get out of line.
Here's what you do.
That's how the ground secretly opened up. That's how it really happened.
Right. That reminds me of the story of the little kid who had gone to Bible class and the first time.
Oh.
He's like 4 or 5 years old. He goes to Bible class and they're studying about the Israelites crossing the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army getting destroyed and everything. And so he comes home from Bible class and his parents, they hadn't been taking him to church or anything, but they asked him, "Well, what did you study about in Bible class today?" And so he said, "Well, I said Moses and the Israelites are running away from Pharaoh and his army, and they get to the Red Sea, and the Egyptians are coming behind them. So Moses gets the construction crew, and they build a bridge, and they all cross over the bridge, and then he gets his demolition crew, and they set some dynamite on the bridge supports and blow the whole thing when Pharaoh's army is right on the middle of it, and they all fall in the sea and drown." And his parents said, Are you sure that's what they taught you in your Bible class today?" He said, "Well, that's the gist of it." He said, "That's not exactly what the teacher said, but if I told you what the teacher said happened, you'd never believe it."
Yeah. See, I thought you were going to tell the one where the kid went to Bible class and then he came home, looked under his bed, and said, "Mom, Dad," they'd learned about Genesis, how God made man.
From
He
the
says,
dust.
"Mom, Dad, there's somebody under my bed, and I'm not sure whether he's coming or going."
Yeah, but see, that had nothing to do with Moses.
Yeah, I know.
That has to do with Adam.
Well, see, I hadn't heard that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did you make it to 18 and you haven't heard that? I have failed. Well, now you've heard it, though.
I think my favorite kid with Moses and the Red Sea story, though, was the one where the kid's going on and on and on about how great God is because he learned in Bible class that he parted the Red Sea and the people got to walk across on dry land.
And then
the scientist comes up to him and says, "Now, son, don't you know that such a thing isn't possible because they they measured and they found out that what actually happened is the Israelites just walked across.
Yeah, because the Red Sea is only like 6 inches deep
it's
or
only
whatever.
6 inches at that spot, and so they just walked across it, and no parting
No
was
big deal,
necessary.
yeah.
And so the kid sits there and is like,
Wow. Praise God. He's even greater
he
than I thought.
drowned the entire Egyptian army in 6 inches of water. That's amazing.
Yeah. I do like that one too.
That was
But since
pretty
you
good.
were talking about using dynamite to open up holes in the earth, I thought the other was more appropriate. Anyway, and see, now we can't use the other one another time because you told them.
Well,
You told them all.
We already
I have
passed the
no
Red
stories
Sea.
left.
We passed the Red Sea. That's in the past. Get over it.
All right. So yeah, Moses is basically passing on the mantle of leadership, the position of being the one that the Israelites are going to bug and drive crazy all day. Poor Joshua.
Yeah.
Poor guy. And right now, I think about not just our elders in our congregation, but all over the country. They've been dealing with trying to make the right decisions about how to deal with everything that's going on, when to reopen, when to keep it shut, when to close things down, how much to do, how to do all sorts of, how to still keep feeding the flock and keep them encouraged and everything else. And leadership is not an easy task.
Technology as the leaders of the church, when as elders they're supposed to be older and most of the time
they're not
trouble with technology.
they're not as tech savvy as the young millennial guys or something. But yeah, all of us older guys struggle with that a little bit. I think we'll survive. But yeah, so Moses does what God commands him. He takes Joshua, he puts him there, and he basically tells everybody, here's the new leader. There was no vote. The people didn't get to decide. God appointed Joshua just like he had appointed Moses. And we're fortunate, I guess, and unfortunate at the same time in the church that because even Jesus obviously chose the 12 apostles, and the apostles had a part in selecting men to be leaders in the church in the first century. Nowadays, we have to choose our leaders. We have to choose the men that are fit the qualifications that God gives. But God doesn't just say put a flaming fire over their heads and say these are the ones right here. So we have to choose carefully and wisely those that the congregation is willing to follow, those who are godly men who are interested in leading the congregation in the direction God wants it to go. And we're asking them to take on a very difficult task, just like Moses and was asking Joshua to do, and like God asked Moses to do and asked Joshua to do. It's not an easy thing. It is always easier to sit back and criticize the leadership and complain about the leadership than it is to be the leader.
So what you're saying here is that God should have chosen one by one each of the other Israelites.
Let them know what it's like.
Yeah, and it's
suffer.
Okay, you guys get to stand up here with Moses for a week.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna pick the actual leader.
Give everybody a day.
Yeah,
a day as the leader.
It's okay, forget about Moses. You're on your own here.
Yeah. So, but that's definitely but praying for leadership, which brings us to what we'll talk about next time. We've talked about the worldwide church and the church, and next one's gonna have to be the leadership. Well, it's not on there because we finished all of those for now. But that'll be our next one because we got to talk about the elders of the church, the leadership of the church. It's something that we certainly should pray for. So we'll talk about that next time. But I hope that God chose, and He chose the best one available, and that person suffers greatly as a result. It's a difficult thing to be the leader. It really is. And it's not something that anybody. Oh well, they're so lucky because they're under a great strain. They have a lot of stress on them.
A lot of tough decisions.
Yeah, and
a lot to keep up with.
Yeah,
a lot of not fun things.
Yeah, and one of those decisions, that each of those decisions that they make You're not going to make everybody happy.
I was watching a TV series a while back where they were the leader of the group left the group and picked somebody else to be leader instead of him, and like everybody was just like starting to hate everything, and that one person got really stressed and was like, I can't do this. You have to come back and lead the group again. And the guy left the group to go on a journey of self evaluation and figure out like what he was supposed to do with his life, and he realized, I'm supposed to lead this group. The reason I'm supposed to be a leader is because I don't care whether or not people hate me. And that makes me a good leader because I don't have to be stressed about everyone's always going to hate something that you do as a leader. And
You have to have a tough skin.
yeah, and so he was just like, since I'm the kind of person that doesn't care, I'm the perfect person to lead this group because I'll listen to you and I'll make a change if it's necessary. But if you hate me, I don't care. And I was like, huh. I thought this was just a dumb TV show, but they actually got something somewhat right about leadership. Good job, guys.
Yeah. Well, it's there can definitely be some hatred and anger and everything pointed toward someone
Yes.
in leadership. And even when they're doing the best that they can do and making the best decisions that they can make, no decision is ever going to make everybody. I mean, even God in leading this world, the decisions he makes, they don't make everybody happy.
Oh no.
That's not going to happen.
And the goal isn't to have everybody happy.
No. The goal is to do the right thing. And in this case, it was to have the person leading, because I guarantee if they'd taken a vote, Joshua would not have gotten elected.
No.
But the goal, God's goal, was to have the man in charge be the one who was going to do what he said and actually lead the people where he wanted them to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so Joshua was the man for that job. And he did, for the most part, he did a pretty good job.
He did do a pretty good job.
I mean, there was a few oopsies in there.
I think it would be interesting, like, if God gave us alternate history of, like, what if Moses actually led them into the promised land and Joshua didn't take his place? Like,
Yeah.
how would Moses have done things different from Joshua?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're never going to get to see it, so.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Make a TV series about that.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, you don't really know.
Well, I know, you just have to make up something. That's why it's fiction. Anyway. All right.
Adios.
Well, yeah, we've kept you too long.
We
Sorry. If it wasn't for all the stories he told.
Yeah, so many of them.
But anyway, so Moses prays for Joshua, prays for a leader, and God chooses Joshua. So we'll let you go for today, and hope that you will pray for the leaders around you as well, and pray for God to, when the time is right, to choose new leaders to replace leaders, that He'll help make that go smoothly.
Hope that you come back tomorrow for the next one, of course. And hope that you've enjoyed these, learned something, been reminded of something.
What if they come back yesterday for the next one?
Don't think that works that way.
Okay. I don't know.
I can't think of a single way that would be possible. Anyway, okay, bye.
Bye.